You're watching LMCC.
Hello and welcome to our first Zoom Talking Points. I'm Kay Erickson with the League of Women Voters of South Tonka. And today we're talking about the Minnetonka Coalition for Equitable Education. It's a student-led organization that works collaboratively with alumni and parent supporters to advocate for equitable education in the Minnetonka School District. With me today is Peg, the board president of the South Tonka League, and together we're going to be talking to two of the leaders of the MCEE. So welcome Samaya and Peg and Deepti. Let's start right in with the questions. Let's start with a question about how MCEE was founded. It's my understanding you were organized last summer. Can you tell us a little bit about how you folks came together and decided to create this organization?
Well, students have always felt this way, and they've come to accept it. But a group of students felt that they needed to take action, and they were inspired by with the murder of George Floyd and like the surgence of social action last year. They were inspired to take action themselves, and I think it's a student-led group organized by students.
Well, did you just happen to meet on Facebook, or how did you get together?
So a few of the students over the summer, they were already friends with each other and they all had shared beliefs on topics like this. And so they decided, we should start really doing something about this, right? And so one of their friends' parents was one of the parents who was involved in groups like this that are trying to work with Minnetonka, and they also have similar interests. So it kind of all started falling together, and it was like mutual people, kind of like parents, and then alumni fell in, and they became this one group. And they started their work over summer, early summer, and me and Samaya ended up joining through the students. We like talked to them and ended up joining, and that was a little bit later into summer, like maybe 1 or 2 months. I joined about 1 or 2 months after they had, and I just talked to one of them, and then she accepted me into the group, and then that's how.
Yeah, I joined in September. I was previously subscribed to their newsletter, and I was getting information on the actions that they were taking. And I reached out to a friend. I was like, "Are you part of this group? It seems cool." And she was like, "Are you interested in joining?" I said, "Yeah," and here I am.
And there you are. Now, I noticed the name of the organization is the Minnetonka Coalition for Equitable Education, not Equal Education. Can you talk a little bit about that name and how you differentiate equality from equity in the school setting and in the curriculum?
First off, like equality and equity are different. Like they mean similar things, but equality is, giving everyone the same thing, everyone's receiving the same thing, whereas equity is like to each their own. If someone needs more, they're going to be receiving more so that everyone is achieving the same. And I think that's why we deemed it a better word to be using in our context, especially in education. So I think that was why we said equitable education instead of equal education.
The one thing I was looking at your videos earlier today, and the one that really helped me sort of understand a little bit was that equality was if everybody got a computer in order to do their schoolwork on. The equity part was not everybody has Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And so that's where it would be different. And so that's where it would not be equal. And everybody having the same access to equipment and or process in order to have the ability to participate on an equitable basis. So I thought that was a pretty good example that people can sort of relate to.
So how are you folks organized? I know you're made up of students and alumni and parents. Tell us about your core leadership group.
The group is student-led, but parents, community allies, and alumni have come together. Our core leader group is made up of, all those I said, students, alumni, and community members and parents. And yeah, we coexist, we work together. There is no like, you are younger than me, I won't listen to your views, but we work together. It's a cooperation.
So about how many people are in your organization, between all of the, various types of participants?
It's hard to count everyone who's like slightly related, but our core leaders is around 25 of us. And there's been people who've been in and out, and there's people who are connected with us but aren't exactly a part of our core leaders. But there's around 25 of us that are core leaders.
How are you organized? So who takes, do you all share leadership, or is someone a leader, or how does all that work? Because you have 25 core people, getting 25 people on the same page is like challenging. So, tell us a little bit about that.
We have all these like diverse members, and every voice is heard. There is no like one person is above all. We work together. There is a co-leadership.
And it's most, like Sumaya has said, that it's like mainly student led, which it is. So usually students are the ones that are coming up, like the alumni and parents kind of help us and support our ideas and what we're thinking and, what we're saying. So that's usually how it goes.
Sounds like a very innovative way to organize a group.
Yeah.
And Peg, you mentioned like you're kind of like questioning like how can 25 people work together, and but we, like, earlier when the group started, there was like some disorganization, but now that we've like come to terms like who is doing what, who is working on what, we all can now work together and everyone can share their views.
Yeah, I mean, there's always growing pains for any organization, trying to, get it, who's on first, kind of thing. So, I mean, it sounds really, really interesting. I love the fact that, you have parents and alumni and other allies in the community that are really willing to support you. But, I think we were talking to Amber, one of the parents or adults in your support system. She said, we're just really here to support the kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's just truly awesome.
It is.
And it's really interesting how all that, how it's working out for you. So kudos to you for helping make it work.
Yeah. How many people do you think are involved between the people that are in your core group, but other people who participated, or do you have any idea how many people are following you on websites?
I think collectively with our Instagram and Facebook together, it's like around 1,000 in terms of followers.
Wow.
I'm sure some of those overlap. Like there's some people who follow both the Instagram and the Facebook, but that's in terms of followers. And then I'm not sure like exact numbers because it's hard to count, but there's people who support us by, coming to our protests, coming to our rallies, stuff like that. People who will help out, email us like tips, advice, comment advice. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're always growing. So it's very hard to keep track of. Yeah.
Let's talk about the imperatives. Where you have a list of things that you would like to see the Minnetonka School District do. Was that the first thing you folks came up with, or did that kind of evolve as you went along?
The imperatives are more like demands, but we have like named them imperatives because like they had a sense of urgency to it, and it was less threatening than the word demands.
Tell us about how you got the school board to implement some of your imperatives. So what was the process that you used? What happened?
So when the members, this is before I had joined, but when they first started, they first came up with a list of 11 imperatives, and they were like, this is what we need. This is what we want. And so they started going to school board meetings and they started contacting the school board frequently. And as they were hearing, and they named off these imperatives, and there was also a change.org petition that was created, and it was urging the school to, enforce change. And we were able to get around 5,000 signatures on the petition. So that, helped a lot and showed that like this is something that like we're urgent about. This is something that needs to happen in Minnetonka. And so we were able to get, I believe, 7 of our imperatives were incorporated into goal 2 of like the school board created goals. And on goal 2, about 7 of the imperatives were a part of it. And they created, they said that they're going to get most of them done like within like a year and a half from now. they're in the process of working towards their goal.
So did you use your own personal stories to help inform the school board about why the imperatives were necessary? How did you go about convincing them?
So in the MCE, we have a group called the research team that works to collect data on the other school districts around us and like how they're doing how they're doing in terms of equity and implementing equity in their curriculum. And we, along with personal stories, we brought that data and we showed them like the benefits of having equity, aside from personal stories, like equity will help help the school district out.
At some of the school board meetings, we did share like personal stories, and then the petition was like, obviously your students are saying that this is something that they're needing.
That was our starting point, and we just worked. Worked.
It sounds like a very thoughtful, deliberate process to go about making change. And I think it's really, if you want to make change, you really have to know exactly what you want, and you've done that in the imperatives. Can you tell us and share with our audience what some of the imperatives are that you have developed?
So the 11 imperatives we had were anti-racism statement to the community. So we wanted them to put out a statement about anti-racism. We wanted anti-racist training for staff, recruiting BIPOC teachers. We wanted a review of the hate symbol and dress code policy, anti-racist curriculum, a part of our school curriculum. We wanted to review like the way the incidents were reported. We had a restorative justice imperative, an open enrollment busying policy imperative, civil rights protection for teachers, Minnesota Statute 124D 861 imperative about that. And then we had an imperative about democratic representation of community. And then 7 of those were, yeah.
Wow. So which ones are next on your list to get implemented?
Well, the ones that they didn't put in their goal 2 was the restorative justice imperative, the open enrollment busying policy, civil rights protection for teachers, and then the Minnesota Statute 124D 861. We're working on those, and then we're also we're working with the school board to keep holding them accountable to working towards the other 7 that they said that they would enforce.
It looks like your social action committee is not only working on the imperatives, but you also monitor and observe. So you're following this all the way through the process. So you're staying with it. It's just not a one-time thing. You're really staying with the whole process and staying in communication, which I think is just a wonderful way to approach the whole thing. Is working collaboratively with the school district to make these changes in a very obviously effective way. In addition to your social action committee, you've also got 5 committees the way I looked at the information. You've got your a community engagement committee, you've got the alumni, the research, and the social media we've talked a little bit about, but you're doing some very interesting things, I think, in the mentorship. I mean, that's can you talk about that? I thought that was a really innovative way to look at this whole project.
Okay, so going back on the equity thing, not a lot of people have the resources to get advice in things such as like college application processes. So alumni gladly volunteered to help BIPOC students, especially in these sort of processes, and give them tips and advices since they've already gone through this whole process.
Some of our audience might not know what BIPOC stands for. Yeah. So could you just tell us?
Yeah, BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color.
Thank you.
It's like the same as people of color, but it puts more light to Black and Indigenous people, and it's also including all of the people of color.
Very inclusive term then. The other thing you have, it looks like your research committee is also doing starter kits. Can you, and the mobile library, I mean, you really are providing a lot of education in a lot of different ways. Can you talk about those 2 things?
As the MCEE, to engage the community, we have to provide them with the education and educational resources to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. And the research team is making these starter kits, and they have all the information you need in about a topic, but in like different mediums. There's podcasts, there's video, there's articles, and it's very accessible, and like we're giving it to the community so they can learn more about what we're doing and why we're doing it.
And what's the mobile library about? That's a really great idea.
Yeah, the mobile library is something that's in progress right now, and it's basically like we provide books about like anti-racism and other topics and restorative justice. And we, it's just like a library. We give books to the community, we switch out books, like how a library works.
So have you had any resistance from the community or opposition from the community relative to what you're trying to do?
There's definitely other people who also come to the school board meetings and are advocating for things opposing to us. There's people who want very different things than we do from the school board and who are kind of like stopping our movement because of what they think what we're doing is kind of wrong.
Yeah, I think the misunderstanding comes is like they think equity is some sort of like political agenda that we're trying to like incorporate within the school district, but really it's just human rights. There's nothing political about it. We just want equity for all, so everyone can be on like the same standing, Well,
one of the things you've also been doing is, at least one of the, I think once anyway, you've had community discussions. And that sounds like another way you're trying to educate the community about these issues. How do those work?
Community discussions, we host a meeting, like this. We invite community members, they come in and we have a specific topic that we might go over. For example, like our last topic was anti-racism, and we had people discuss what does anti-racism mean to you? How would you like work to incorporate anti-racism into your life? And yeah, it's just like getting the viewpoints of the community members and like using it, and yeah, just providing more resources for them.
If somebody were interested in joining your conversation, is it for the general public? Is it just for students? Is it for anybody who would like to join in?
Yeah, we release like when things are coming up, we release like infographics about it, and we have like posts about it and ways for people to sign up. But yeah, for community discussions, it's essentially anyone. And then we've also had like student specific discussions that are with students. And we've had like we're looking to have discussions with like just maybe like teachers and like specific groups of people. But community discussions are open to anyone who's willing to come.
Okay.
And then let's just say you had an organization that wanted you to come speak to them. Are you doing that, or?
Yeah, we've done a few things like that. They just contact us directly and then we go and we talk, or it's usually like a discussion and they talk to us about what we've been doing. Like they tell us their thoughts, stuff like that.
So if groups or people want to help MCEE, what's the best way for them to go about doing that? What do you need from other folks?
I think we're mostly just looking for support, and like lots of it, and open support to us, whether it's like coming to our rallies, coming to our protests, coming to our community discussions, doing as much as they can. We do calls to action, and that's where like maybe we want everyone to we have an email template and we want everyone to be sending this to the school board or to like someone specific, stuff like that, and helping us out in those things is really helpful, and that's a good way that they can support us.
Do you have if we went to your website, for instance, if somebody were interested in helping, could they go to your website and get on an email action list, for instance, or how do you communicate with the people that are interested in helping and letting them know what you'd like for them to do?
It's mostly on our like social medias. We advertise it a ton, especially if there is a call to action. We'll have lots of posts about it, and we'll be asking them. And we have like a link tree in our bio that will have like a bunch of links, and one of them will be the template or stuff like that. And then we also have in that link tree with all those links, we have an interest form, and that you add your email to. And so then they'll be added to the list of emails that we send stuff out to like that from our email. And that's like, the interest form is to be involved in MCEE and on any level. And we have that on our website, on both of our social media accounts.
So in your social media presence, I know you do Instagram and Facebook, but you also have a new website. And so tell us a little bit about the website.
So our website obviously has the same interest form. It includes our video scribes. It has lots of information about MCEE, and it also has information about like the Minnetonka schools. Like we have some facts on there about, the racial background of the students, stuff like that.
And also there, on there, you have your newsletters or on your website.
Yeah.
And your newsletters, you've done what, 3 of them now, I think, if I remember right. And I thought they've all been very informative.
They're very informative. They're very helpful. They're very interesting. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you would like for the general public to know about what you folks do?
I just think that to understand what we do, you will have to like have an open mindset and be willing to learn more, because we do have a lot of like educational stuff for you to learn more about, like historical stuff and like stuff like anti-racism, restorative justice.
We want people to be educated on this, and we're happy change is happening with our group, and we hope it becomes more of a thing throughout our state, throughout the country. And I know it's happening in other schools, and it's really nice that this change is happening. So we're looking for support. We're looking for people to get more educated, but that's about it.
Okay. And once again, the where to find your website is?
EquitableMTKA.com.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all you're doing to educate the general public in all kinds of ways. The League of Women Voters grew out of the women's suffrage movement, so voting rights and election issues are at the heart of what we do. But in addition to that, the League educates its members and the public through programs like this. We also take positions and lobby at the local, state, and national levels. We're nonpartisan, so we don't support political parties or candidates. Our South Tonka League serves the cities in Southwest Hennepin County, and we're open to the membership of anyone 16 years of age and older. We hope you'll join us. You can find out about our league on our website, lwvsouthtonka.org. Finally, I'd like to thank the Lake Minnetonka Communications Commission for the opportunity to present this program, and thank you for watching.